Hi everybody, Thrift Store Dave here. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. This week's video I made about items I've sold. Things that I bought, things that I sold, and how much I've made on them. So again, you can continue to hone your search when you're at a thrift store or a garage sale or an estate sale. So lots of goodies here, made hundreds of dollars, and actually it was a very busy summer of sales, as you could see in my previous videos. So let's begin and I'll show you some of the items. Okay, so to begin, we've got a couple items from a lot of watches and watch accessories that I got from my buddy Tom, who's also a reseller. I paid about $167 for this lot of watches, and one by one I've been selling them and their parts. This first Times Square watch went for 15 bucks to a fellow in Europe, and then just a lot of wristbands, because people still can use those, went for $12. So I've been in pure profit, I think, for a while now on these watches. After that, we've got a pair of Levi jeans that are new with tags. These weren't any special premium brand. In fact, Denizen gets sold at Target amongst other department stores. But for $2 new with tags, someone who's going to just want to replace something they're comfortable with is going to pay still less than retail, and I made over 20 bucks on them. After that, we've got a Harley-Davidson leather wallet with a chain. These were really popular probably 10 to 15 years ago, and I got it as part of an online lot with shopgoodwill.com. I paid $57 including shipping for everything. This got me half of my money back right away, and I've sold over $100 total in hats and Harley items so far, with more to go. Next, I was able to resell a Verabradley tote that was adorned with nightingales, it looks like. They have a lot of different retired patterns that people like to collect. And again, if one of theirs got damaged or worn out, people want to pick up another one because they are comfortable with their pattern. So having paid only $2 for this, I sold it for $20. After that, we've got an interesting piece. This is Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians, banner or tapestry, and people still like to collect the old icons because they are artistic, even though people acknowledge that the brand has been changed to the Guardians, which is a little bit more politically correct. But I saw this in a lot on goodwill.com, and I only paid about, I think, $30 for everything, and I sold this alone for $120. After that, I've got an old Hype watch. This is an Armatron watch that was collectible in the 80s, 90s. I believe it was more for kids. It was like a poor man's Swatch watch, and part of that same lot that I got from my friend Tom was able to sell it for 20 bucks. In addition to that, I sold this Gruen jeweled quartz watch for 40 bucks because it was brand new in its original container. I just had to put a new battery in it, and someone was more than happy to pay me a good price for it. After that, one of the things that I will do sometimes is dig in the jewelry bin, and if there's something between $1 and $5 that catches my eye, I'll grab it. And this was an example where I have a vintage Jeffrey Bean brooch that I was able to make a quick 17 bucks on. And then in a similar hunt, in my old junk bag days, this Neiman Marcus mini picture frame was part of a $3 junk bag that I bought, and I sold this alone for $10. So again, it was more on a micro scale to margins that I'm trying to get nowadays, but still fetched a nice return. Thank you guys so much for watching so far. Really appreciate you hanging in there. Please like the video if you enjoy the content. Subscribe if you haven't so far. Let's go and see a few other items that I've sold. All right, so next we had another Verabradley retired mini backpack. Paid $2 for this, made a smaller profit on this one of just $12. Then I sold a 2011 Dallas Mavericks NBA Champions shirt. This one I made some money on out of really good timing. Paid $9, but sold it for $27 because they were in the finals this year. The next one was a piece that I learned on. I bought a tumbler that I thought was worth way more than it was, just because the comps I saw were not very numerous. So I was happy to just make a few bucks and move on, and probably not buy many tumblers in the future. After that, we've got a plastic shell bikini. So these were part of a lot of coconut and plastic shell bikinis that I paid 50 cents a piece for and just sold them in bulk because people were buying them as costume wear. So at $2.50 a piece and then selling them for anywhere between $5 and $8 a piece, I made good money. I just had to be patient. After that, there was a really cool antique piece that I found. It was a little powder room mirror, or a pocket mirror, that was advertising in the early 1900s, Menon talc toilet powder, or talcum powder. I paid $1 for this in a neighborhood garage sale from an antique dealer who was trying to declutter. So I was able to take advantage of that timing and flip it for $30. Next, I was very excited to sell this bobblehead from a lot of Kansas City Royal items that I bought on shopgoodwill.com. I paid $49 including shipping for the entire lot, and this was apparently a very popular bobblehead, so that alone I sold for $62, so I'm money ahead. I still have items from that lot that I'm trying to sell, and it's all pure profit going forward. After that, I've got a Polo Sport Ralph Lauren Hawaiian t-shirt. This I found when I was thrifting last spring, or last fall, when I was thrifting in Flagstaff, Arizona, visiting the Grand Canyon. Didn't make a ton of money on it, but happy to make at least $10 on it. This next item was a garden flag. People tend to like garden flags, and they are easy enough to fold up and ship lightly. I was able to purchase this in a whole lot of goodies for $15, and this item alone I sold for $18. So all the other items I sell are going to be pure profit going forward. After that, I've got a couple watch sales from my same lot from my buddy Tom. This was a old Sports Illustrated Washington Redskins watch. They are now the Washington Commanders. And that one went to a collector for $25. And then there were 3 other watches, 2 completely new, 1 lightly used, that were a brand from, I think, East Germany called Worth. And got rid of them for $20. Was just happy to kind of move more along from the whole bundle. The next was a very cool item. This was a miniature Bob the Builder backpack from probably the Y2K era. Paid only $1 for it. And the person who bought it because their child, who had this when they were little, was about to have their first grandchild. And so they bought it to give to their child so they would have the same backpack that they had when they were little. So I thought that was a really sweet, nostalgic story about helping people connect with items that they cherish. And that's part of why I really love being a reseller. After that, we have a 1978 Philadelphia Phillies pinback, which has the Philly Fanatic in the middle and a bunch of stars. This was part of a lot of pinbacks that I paid $35 for. I'm now over halfway towards breaking even and then making money on it. Then I was able to find for just $3 a Ninja Turtles Donatello baseball glove from the 90s. So made $15 on that. Took a little longer to sell than I had hoped. And then I also was able to sell a Harley motorcycle saddlebag tether. So this was part of that $57 lot that I bought. A bunch of items that were Harley and hats. This alone went for $15, so I'm in pure profit at this point. All right, I am going to briefly switch gears and now talk about some neckties that I've been able to sell. Because again, if you come across them, there's a lot of garbage out there, but there's some treasure amongst that garbage. So I'm just going to rapid fire a couple neckties that I was able to sell for significant profit, having only paid about $1 a piece for them. And then we're going to wrap up with some items that I was able to sell on Marketplace because they're a little bit bigger and I didn't want to have to deal with the packing and the shipping, and they had enough demand to be sold locally anyways. So let's continue. All right, so this first tie, this Giorgio Armani, was my one exception where I bought a whole lot of designer ties for $55, but this one alone I sold for $60, so now I'm a money ahead for all the rest of them that I'm going to sell. The remaining 3 ties I paid $1 a piece for. This one was a cool Art Deco themed tie, so that's why it caught someone's attention and sold for $15. This next one was a vintage Allen cork themed tie, so people who like wine will sometimes want a wine themed tie. And then Canali is a very nice luxury brand, often makes gorgeous paisley pattern ties, so this one I was able to sell for $30. And lastly, on to Facebook Marketplace sales. This was a pair of inline skates that I found on sale for only $4. The catch was they were size 16, so I had to sit on them for a while, but eventually someone came along and paid me $60 for them. After that, I was able to offload a spray paint gun that I got in a bundle of items, so I probably paid about $1 for it, sold it for a quick $10. And then, being in Chicago, anytime I find something that's quirky or Chicago Cubs specific that I think could sell better locally, I'll put it on Marketplace, and this Cubs bleacher bum shirt was no exception. Paid $2 for it, sold it for $30. Next, I was able to sell an Adidas baseball helmet that had the face guard in it, which makes it more valuable. Got this in a lot of sports items on Goodwill online for 43 bucks. This alone I sold for 20 bucks, and I've already sold over $100 of other items from that lot. Similarly, I bought a bunch of baseball bats in one lot on Goodwill and sold just this one for $20. So I'm within one bat of making my money back and then profiting on those. Lastly was a pair of shoes I had to sit on for a long time. I overpaid for these 90s Nike Michael Jordan flight shoes. I paid 13 bucks for them, and I put them on Marketplace, and I just sat and renewed them, and eventually someone who had the right size and wanted to refurbish them paid me 30 bucks for them. All right, so that wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching the entire video if you've gotten to this point. I know it's a little longer than my usual ones, but I had a lot of sales. And as you can see from the title, this is just part one. It was a busy summer. So these videos are a little more labor intensive to create. So I'm gonna do my best to put together part 2 for next week. But if not, I have a few other content ideas that I might throw out there instead. And we'll do a part 2 sometime very soon. Please again, remember to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and check out my eBay store, which is LC208. This is where all these items go up for sale, except the ones on Marketplace, of course. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Thrift Store Dave.